What up YouTube, it's Missouri's Company, and this is going to be the very first video of our beginner's guide series. And in this video, we're going to choose the very best class for several different reasons. Now, I'm going to talk about each individual class, their benefits, their pros, their cons, but I'm also going to tell you which is the absolute best. So without further ado, guys, let's get straight to it. Alright guys, so like I said, there is a lot to go into Diablo Immortal, and anyone new to the game, welcome. This is going to be the beginners of our beginner's guide series. So we're going to go ahead and create a brand new class to start off with. Let's go and review all 6 of the current classes. Now by the time you see this, we may have a 7th one out, and that being either the Blood Knight or the Shadow Knight, depending on which version we end up getting. But that is coming next month as of the time of this recording, so I don't know if you'll be able to play that straight from the beginning, or if you have to reach a certain level with a main character before you can truly unlock the new class. So currently we have the Barbarian, and they are a melee heavy class that is strength based. So there's 2 main stats for each of these classes. So there's either going to be strength or intellect. So Barbarian is a melee strength class, so it deals a lot around close combat, some support skills, a little bit of buffing. It also has a really phenomenal farming build, which just involves running around as fast as you can with burning tornadoes coming out of your booty, which could be a lot of fun if you're into that kind of thing or just like to farm. Next one up is going to be the Wizard. Now this is our first of 2 intellect classes. So again, we had strength and intellect. Now this is a ranged class. But actually, before you go on to the Wizard, the Barbarian is actually really good at AoE damage when it comes to either single target or AoE. Each of these classes, in addition to being either strength or intellect or melee or ranged, will also be very good at single target or multi-target, or also known as AoE or area of effect. So Barbarian is a strength, melee, AoE focused class. The Wizard is a ranged intellect AoE focused class. This is by far probably my favorite class. If you played any Diablo game, it plays very similarly to either the Sorcerer or the Wizard from any of those other games that you played. This one has a lot of different builds you can do with a lot of different elements. So that's why I usually spend most of my time on the Wizard, because you really can never get bored of it because there's so much different class diversity within one singular class. But again, it is an intellect, range, and AoE focused class. Moving on, we have the Demon Hunter, which is a strength, range, and single target damage focus class. Now, if you are focusing on in-game raids or dungeons or anything like that, where you are focusing on a single target and really want to burst them down as fast as possible, the Demon Hunter might be the best one for you. Now, like I said in the beginning of this video, guys, we will be telling you which one I recommend for any and all players, and actually selecting one for this beginner's guide series. But the Demon Hunter is phenomenal as a strength, range, and single target focused class. Moving on is going to be the Monk. So the Monk is a strength melee, and I struggled to give it one in particular. I'm going to go ahead and give it more of like a hybrid. It is probably the most accurate. It does some phenomenal damage at both AoE and single target with some of its builds. So we're going to go ahead and give it sort of the middle ground. It does neither exceptionally well compared to some of the other ones, but it does both very good. So Monk is a phenomenal class if you like to move around quickly, as well as have the ability of jumping around while duplicating yourself and getting Monk allies or Mystic allies, and then beating up a single target or even multi-target. But very good farmer as well. But it is a strength, melee, and sort of a hybrid class between the 2 options. Now the Crusader is another very unique one. I would say the Monk and the Crusader are the most unique. So the Monk is a strength melee, and I'm going to go ahead and give it another hybrid, believe it or not. It just it doesn't have a ton of really high damage. It actually has the best support ability in all of Diablo Immortal, being its Holy Banner. It makes everyone crit and do more damage. It's a phenomenal ability, and if you're not running it as a Crusader, you're just doing it wrong. Crusader is by far one class that is widely appreciated from both PvE, PvP, and anyone. You will never get turned down for a group if you're in a Crusader and have the appropriate gear, obviously. But Crusaders are really strong. There is some late game builds that can make it just do stupid good damage, but it does take a little bit of a while to ramp up into that sort of damage. So you're going to be sort of that support tanky role for a while. Now, Necro is the other intellect class. It is a intellect, range, and a single target focused when it comes between the intellect classes, between the wizard and the Necro. Necro does far more single target damage than the wizard does. The summons help tremendously. You summon up all these different things. Like you see the skeleton army behind you. You can also summon mages or golems or anything else, and you can do curses. You can also do different builds where you make certain corpses explode. There's a lot of different options here, and the Necro is a very, very good option. In fact, it's going to be the one that I recommend as the ultimate or the best class for most new players to play. Now, if there was a certain class that I just described that you fell in love with and you know you want to play it. There's no bad class in Diablo Immortal. The reason I'm going to say the Necro is the best is because it's the most user-friendly one, because you do have the summons available. So even if you're not necessarily mechanically inclined to all the different mechanics or boss fights in Diablo Immortal, you can still do a ton of damage with your summons and still do totally fine. So, and for that reason, I think it's the most widely known as beginner friendly, but also is phenomenal at when it comes to its damage output, both to early, medium, middle, and late game. So Necro is all around a very, very strong option. I know a lot of people that play it and really enjoy it for both PvE and PvP. So for that reason, we are going to go ahead and be selecting the Necro. Now, like I said, you can pick any class you want, but this is just the one that I'm recommending as the best for the reasons that I've already said. But as you can see right here, class change is available at level 35. And with some of the changes they made, you can get to level 35 pretty quickly. So you can literally change to as many classes as you want. You can do it on about a weekly basis as of the time of this recording. That could change later on, but as of the time of this recording, it is every week. So every 7 days you can change to a different class if you want. And that was not in the class. That was not in the game when this game first came out. So that is a phenomenal change that has happened later on in the game. So let's go ahead and pick our Necro. Now this is actually a really cool part. So you have all these different cosmetics you can select from. And I'm just going to go with this one because it's the most, we'll call it Necro E. You can customize it to your liking. So you can just pick the different skin tones, whatever skin tone you want. You can make it look like yourself or look like, you know, a vampire. I think we're going to go more vampire look. Let's see what kind of hair we want to rock. Oh, it's actually some like Jon Snow looking hair. Very interesting there. Nah. I think this is the hair we're going to want right here. Oh, yeah. What about a beard? Can we get a thick beard? Oh, angry beard. I mustache you a question. Yeah, I might just do the little scruff. All right, that's going to do it for me. I don't really care about anything else. So we're going to go ahead and create it. This is going to be F2P. Oh, wait. We'll do MHC F2P. Misery Hates Company, free to play. And create. Boom. Wasn't taken. Love that. So that's going to go ahead and do it for this first video. The next video is we're going to talk about some settings that I would recommend you changing as a beginner coming into Diablo Immortal. And then I'm not going to show you guys the full storyline because I do want to let you guys sort of play that for yourself. But I will take breaks and actually make a video once you get to stopping points or big events that happen and explain different mechanics in Diablo Immortal. So that way you know exactly what to expect, either when you get to it, either after you passed it and maybe you missed something that you want to go back and do, or just in general for the game, because this game actually has a lot of depth, and I would highly recommend you guys playing it as much as you can, because it's a really phenomenal mobile game that does have a pretty decent PC port. That's going to do it for today's video, guys. Until next time, lock it in.